Hello all. So this is about multiple transactions and how to analyze the revenue which is generated in that. So while considering that, we have to take first segregate this program into input and output. So the input has to be multiple transactions. So here we have to give some products first. And what is the output here? That is, the input is the product and some amount which is transacted, and then what is the output is how much total is that revenue which is generated for each and every product, and what is the total transaction. So all these things can be calculated. So in that they have just said this as a data analysis. So we are going to analyze this over this revenue only. So we have to give the inputs like some products and some amount which is generated through it. So that is the input, and then we are taking that particular amount total, just analyzing this amount, like for each product how much amount is generated and what is the total amount generated. So this is what we are going to calculate in the output. So for giving the input, we can use list transactions for giving new analysis, new array list, and the public classes a transaction analysis transaction I have given, and for list the object name is given as transactions. And for initiating the variables, I have used static here. Why? Because I'm using summing by concepts, summing and grouping concepts I'm using, so I have to use static for that. So for static class transactions I'm using. So static, so this is the area for input. So now I'm going to say only about the input, how I am giving the input. So static class transaction. So I have initiated a class called transaction, and in that, what is the input? Input is going to be the product and the sum. So the product is will be in string. So it can be either product A, B, C, like that, and the amount is going to be the numbers, and it can be in decimal numbers. So I'm using double, and this has to be given in public values, public transaction, and whatever the values which I've given, that will be given in the product. And this dot product is equal to product. This amount is equal to amount. Then I have to make it as public because it is static, which is nearly equivalent to private value, which cannot be used by any other classes. So I have to make it as public. So for that, I have to use public string product, return the product, get, and here get also I have to use, that is important. And for the other variable amount also, I have to use get amount. So this is how I have to initiate the input values. So I have to verify whether I'm going to use this summing by and grouping by concepts, so that I will be using the collectors and the streams for that also. So if I'm going to use that, then the class must be in static. So I'm using the static values here, so that I need not mention in the map values. So here, this is the input range. And then what I have to calculate is I have to calculate the total of the transactions, and for each product, what is the transaction. So for that, I have to give the input first. So I have initiated now. I have initiated the data type. Now I have to give the input. So the input can be given by the list transactions. So transactions is the class name which we have initiated. Transaction is the class name which we have initiated, and the transactions is the list name. So now here I'm adding the product 1, product 2, and then product 3 with some amounts. So this is how I am adding the data. So after adding the data, what I have to do is I'm just picturizing how to display the output and what it has to be done. I have to make a total of the revenue which is generated here. So I'm using double. Total revenue is equal to calculate total revenue, which are coming under the list transactions. And then sys out total revenue plus total revenue I'm giving. So this is how it is going to be displayed. So the displayment is going to be like total revenue first. The total value of the numbers will be added, and here it will be displayed. And then here I'm using map for the process. So for the map, whenever I'm using map, how it will be displayed. So that is what it represents. Like I have to display like product 1, this much amount is transacted, product 2, this much amount is transacted, and then product 3, this much amount is produced. So these things only it has to be displayed when I'm using map. So map will be giving string and then the double value, and or the name here is whatever we have initiated here, the revenue per product. That is the object name which we have calculated, which is equal to calculate revenue per product. So it is initiating the transactions here. That is the list is imported here. So I will be using importing the list value in the map by using the name of the list here. And then how to display the output, system.out. And then I have to use the for each loop because it has to come from the product 1 to the last value it has to process. So it will be going on from, we are giving a name called product for this for each loop, and to the last value as revenue, because I have given the name as a revenue here. So here up to revenue, it will be moving on, and then sys out product, and the revenue value will be displayed in between. And here, so this is how the total revenue and the revenue per product will be displayed. And for this, I have to use the private static value also, because I'm using the summing and summing double values for calculating. So here I'm using stream. So calculate total revenue, list transactions, and then return transactions dot stream map to double transaction to get amount. So here I have to get the amount, that is the total amount dot sum I am using and calling the method. So this is for taking the total revenue from the list of transactions. And then what I have to do is for per product I have to filter out. That is, I have to group the numbers, group the revenue, and then I have to add it. So for grouping, I have to use grouping by, and for adding, I'm using summing double because I have initiated the data type as double. And then private static, again map string double, calculate the revenue per product. The list has to be initiated, the name, transactions, and stream. As because I have to give the name of the list value, I'm giving list transactions, then return dot stream dot collect I have to use for collectors, and grouping by transaction double colon get product, and then collectors again for this summing also I have to use collectors dot summing double transactions double colon get amount. So here I have to check what is the output is for each product. Product 1, what is the amount generated, for product 2 what is the amount generated, and for product 3 what is the amount generated, and what is the total amount. So these things only I have to verify. The total revenue is 575, and revenue per product is product 3 is this much, product 1 and 175, and product 2 is 200. So this is how the data analysis can be done for the transaction analysis of some products. Thank you.